everyone, this is PK Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video for you, and this will be a look and review of the opening 3 episodes of Invincible Season 3. These episodes debuted on the Amazon platform on Thursday the 6th of February, and subsequently we'll have weekly releases of following episodes afterwards. Now there will likely be spoilers for these episodes that were released, so just beware when going to this overall video. And just to quickly recap on the final events from Season 2, where we saw Mark fight the villainous Angstrom across multiple universes before beating him brutally to death and feeling remorseful afterwards. Mark sees the future variant of Eve, who tells him to be true about his feelings for the Eve in the current timeline. And we see Nolan continue to be imprisoned by the Vulturemites, also showing remorse for his past actions. Now Season 3 opens with around 6 months past from the events from Season 2, and Mark is continuing his superhero duties for the GDA and showing increases in his power level and strength. He also finally finds the courage to ask Eve out. Mark's brother Oliver surprises everybody with revealing his early powers. We see previous Guardians who died coming back to life or being revived by Cecil, which I'm still not really sure about, but I'm sure that will be further addressed throughout the rest of the season. And the first episode ended with an epic battle against Doc Seismic. And we see former villains such as Darkwing and D.A. Sinclair again being revived or being brought back by Cecil in order to fight the battle. Mark vehemently disagrees with this and goes to Cecil and to demand an explanation, and we see him being trapped in the White Room. Now episode 2 shows us the backstory of Cecil's life as a younger government agent, coming under attack and having been brutally scarred afterwards before encountering some gas, and then we see later on him becoming the leader of the GDA. We then follow on from the cliffhanger moment from episode 1 when we see Mark lashing out at Cecil for his new methods, and we see that Cecil has implanted multiple contingency devices in Mark's body in order to try and control him. Mark furiously tries to resist all of this, which results in some destructive effects. This also angers the other Guardians and causes eventual divisions within the team. Now the third episode sees Mark and the Guardians trying to formulate their own independency away from the GDA. Mark attempts to train Oliver on a mission with mixed results, and things turn even worse when Oliver rushes to help Mark battle the Mauler twins who have broken out of prison. Now whilst they release a missile which Mark flies out to stop, Oliver brutally slaughters both the Mauler twins and kills them, which is of course against the wishes of Mark and his mother. We then see Mark and Oliver have an intense disagreement, which is very similar to the one that Mark and Nolan had at the Season 1 finale. The two later on reconcile with Mark's mum in their house before Mark discovers an electronic device which is watching them, and we see a mysterious figure sitting in a chair watching over the family. Now overall, I felt these 3 episodes were very good in what was overall a much stronger start than what we saw with the opening of Season 2. And that season itself I felt was a bit disappointing, lacking that real compelling appeal and freshness that what we saw from Season 1. There were a lot of story beats which, outside of the Vulturemite story arc, just felt uninteresting and, dare I say, a bit boring. A lot of episodes seemed to be really dragged out, again with story elements that just didn't feel that involving or integral to the main core of the overall series. Now this time I think we had a much more focused start. Most scenes or sequences really felt important to what was going on overall, promising a lot of potential for what will happen later on throughout this season. Focusing much more on the main cast of characters, whether it be Mark, Eve, Cecil, or a lot of the Guardians, Oliver and also Mark's mother. Any other character, in my opinion, just feels like filler, just there to pad out the episode time or just provide some light humour throughout the individual story. And we see a good time is spent, especially in episode 2, in a relationship between Mark and Oliver again, which is a good juxtaposition between what happened between Mark and Nolan from the first season, and it will be really interesting to see how that plays out throughout following episodes. Will we see a further dysfunction between the two? Will they end up teaming up? Will Mark discover or come to realization that he is treating Oliver very similarly to how Nolan treated him and come to his senses, or will it be too late? Will we see Oliver eventually manifest his powers to an even higher level than Mark, become unhinged, and then will we see an eventual confrontation between the two? Now of course I have read or seen bits and pieces of the overall outline of the comic book storyline for which this animated series is staying very close to. They will have to change certain elements every now and again. It will be interesting to see which direction they actually follow in. And I also liked seeing Cecil's backstory in his first days as the director of the GDA. We had that moment where he met Nolan for the first time, and I think it was very good interlinking those early days with the current struggles that he has now in trying to keep the Guardians together. There was a certain wariness and tiredness that we see with Cecil as he basically has to reassemble a new team where he's bringing back previous villains. There was that interesting moment where they kept replaying the same line that you can either be a good guy or you can end up saving the world. Again, playing to that deconstructive take on the superhero or the idea of superheroism. That's something I've never fully agreed with. I do believe that you can be both. You can be a good person and also look to save the world. Superman, of course, being the epitome of that belief. But again, it works well for this type of storytelling here. And I just think adding elements of this backstory gives enough weight and a certain gravitas to the overall character. And we all wonder who is the mysterious figure who is watching Mark's family. And of course, later on, we will see what happens with Nolan. Will he eventually break free from the Viltrumites? Will he join forces with Mark and warn them against the upcoming invasion? Again, if you are a student or loyal fan of the comic books, you'll kind of already know where this is heading with certain characters appearing. I know there's a couple of very ominous and powerful members of the Viltrumites that we will see coming later on throughout the season. So again, that's very interesting and very exciting to see what will happen later on down the line. And I just think, again, this season so far just feels a bit more involving, a bit more compelling this time around. And hopefully it can stay on that trajectory, not get too distracted by other minor characters that don't really add anything to the overall story. Again, that was a big issue with season 2. But if season 3 can just stay on this fine start here and stay consistent, just focusing on Mark, Oliver, Eve, and also the Viltrumite, what's happening with Nolan, and also what will happen to Cecil. I think if it can stay around those elements, then this probably could be something very superior to season 2, and perhaps even close to the form that what we saw with the first season a couple of years ago. So those are my overall thoughts and feelings on the first 3 opening episodes of Invincible season 3. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you have any other movies, television series, or any other topics or issues within the entertainment scene that you'd like to see me cover within this channel, then also let me know within the comments, and I'll see if I can provide further commentary for you on that subject matter within the future. Please also hit like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you very, very soon.